Hey guys, Ponce here on the PBE, here to show you guys some experimental Jarvan changes. First off, and probably the most important thing is currently his ult Cataclysm deals AoE damage, so I'll show you guys that. That's pretty crazy. If I can get them to cooperate anyway. The bots are going to run away from me, so I'm going to try and illustrate that as best as possible. So yeah, Jarvan with AoE ult is kind of silly. Because these are just bots, I wouldn't take that to mean too much. But again, as I was saying, these are very experimental changes, according to Riot. In its original version, he would actually ult someone and drop a flag where he ulted, which seemed very redundant. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it's some pretty crazy stuff. There were also some mana reduction changes to his Q, which I thought were the most reasonable of all his changes. That's been since reverted, so his Q's the same. What they've instead done, this sort of mini patch on the PB, is actually reduced his Golden Aegis, the W cooldown, to 12 seconds across the board. It used to start at 20 seconds, and at max rank it would scale down to 12. Let's turn the announcer down a bit because she's a bit annoying. So yeah, that's what we have currently. Again, I wouldn't read into this too much because yeah, these are all very sort of experimental and they're changing it quite a bit. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this ultimately. As it stands, again, the ult thing is the most significant. It was very weird how initially the it would actually plant a flag in the middle of his ult, except the flag wouldn't give attack speed or any of the buffs that it normally does. It would just kind of sit there, and sort of the only situation that would be useful in is basically if you were to EQ like that, and then to just close distance, then you would Q onto them. As you can see, the Q is or ult onto them, and then the Q comes back right faster than the E, so you'd get like a much faster knock up. So in those situations, I guess maybe that was the idea there. Seems very clunky and weird. So I mean, I guess that's a thing. But anyway, let me go kill everyone with my ult again. Let me just show you guys how this thing works. Only got one. There are two of them in there. No! Damn it, I wanted the pentakill. Like, Master Yi stole it from me. He actually stole it from me with Blade of the Rune King. Anyway, I don't know, this seems kind of overkill. I know Jarvan's a bit unusual as a pick of late, and he's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's a very sort of specialized pick that appeals to a certain kind of person. I find the problem is a lot of people just build him as tank, and I don't think he's very useful in solo queue at all. Well, I mean, he's useful, but he's not all that great if you build him tank. Like, his carry potential as an assassin, or assassin light, or kind of like a fighter assassin is what I like to call him in terms of how I build. Not this build, by this is just silly PvE build, but, or, I build stuff like, Ravenous Hydra would be core. Youmuu's Ghostblade is a fairly common, but what I would call the situational secondary item. Maw of Malmortius, another fairly core situational item. Sometimes a little bit. I've actually been building Duskblade. Duskblade is quite situational. I think if this whole AoE ult thing goes through, it pushes him even further away from Duskblade because it essentially turns him into an AoE like team wiping assassin. So less like Zed, a little bit more like Talon, I guess. So I don't know. Again, if this whole AoE ult thing goes through, I think it's really going to push people towards building heavy AD Jarvan, because if you do that, there's really not a reason not to. Because, well, you can do shit like this. And Jax is just like gonna ignore that guy because bots are interesting. And I'm not even like that heavily offensively spec'd. I have like this weird item here. I normally wouldn't. Well, sometimes I get boots this early depending on how the game's playing out. But yeah, the AoE ult, just Jarvan's ability to deal with squishies. And if multiple squishies kind of stack like that, you're just going to kill all of them. It really starts to feel like he's stepping on the territory of Malphite, or like a heavy damage Malphite, where his ult just kind of like murders an entire team if they foolishly cluster in front of him. But I don't know. We'll see. Like, it doesn't seem like the most out of line change I've ever seen. I'd have to play it out a bit more to see how it goes exactly. But yeah, a definite a buff to my play style of Jarvan, which is somewhat niche. But I know other people have done it. There's some LCS player, some pro player, I think, who also does Assassin Jarvan occasionally. But yeah, a fairly uncommon thing to see in solo queue. Anyway. Those are my thoughts on that for now. I'll probably, like I said, experiment a lot with it on the PvE. Maybe not a lot, but over the next week or so. I might do it later today on my stream. I'm not really sure what I'm planning. Probably not. I don't think I'm really in the mood to deal with the PvE at the moment. But yeah. Anyway, I've been talking about this way too long. Generally, I think I covered most of my thoughts there. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for now. Those are the experimental Jarvan changes. We'll see what makes it through, what makes it doesn't, or what makes it through and what doesn't. So for the time being, don't worry about this too much, I would say, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye, and as always, the link in the description contains, or the description below contains a link to my channel, twitch.tv/bots. Goodbye.